Star Trek Delta Flyer. This is BlueBrixx set 104967. It contains 1714 pieces. The set was released in November 2022 for about 130 euros. This is a BlueBrixx Pro set, so unlike the special sets, this set contains printed building instructions, pre-sorted bricks and fancy box art. What I mean with pre-sorted bricks is that the building instructions are divided into several bigger sections, and the bricks are sorted by these sections. So you have to open all the bags with the number 1 on them for the first section of the building instructions, and so on. This set is, like you can see, the Delta Flyer from the Star Trek Voyager series, and it's my second Star Trek set by BlueBrixx. I only have Voyager sets so far, okay, these 2 Voyager sets so far, and I hope I have as much fun with this set as I had with the Voyager. Now, you have seen the front cover of this box, now let's have a look at the back side. Okay, here we can see how our assembled build will look like. So, we got the Delta Flyer in all its beauty, and we also got a little plaque, which sadly doesn't have too much information about the ship. It only says that it's 21 meters long, but, well, I think all the other Star Trek sets by BlueBrixx don't have more information on the plaques, so that's fine. And I'm not sure if these are the feet on which the Delta Flyer sits, or if these are just some stands we put it on. They look a bit weird. I don't think this is really part of the actual Delta Flyer. I think these are just stands. But we will see later on. I have just emptied that colorful box, and there was this open box inside it with all our bricks and the manual. I didn't have a BlueBrixx Pro set so far which had this kind of box inside it. Normally inside the box, which has the cover and so on, there are 2 additional boxes with less color, and inside these 2 boxes we find all our bags with the bricks. So this is something new for me, but I won't complain. It's way faster to get to the bricks this way. Like in the large display model of the Voyager that I built before, prints that are printed over several bricks still come attached on these plates. I guess this is how they were assembled for the printing process, and they just let them stay like this. Also, the prints come all in their individual bags. I guess this is done to avoid scratches. But unlike in the Voyager set, this time there are some prints that don't come in their individual bag. Like this tile. It's printed, but it's packaged together with all those other plates. Well, maybe it's not so prone to scratches like those prints. I don't know. But the tile seems to look fine, so I don't mind. These are all the bags that I need for the first section of the building process. So I will open the bags, and then I will start building up Tom Paris' brainchild, the Delta Flyer. I just have completed step 1-56. That means the first building section is complete. Now section 2 follows. Let's see what I can say so far about the set. First of all, I don't think these are stands, these are really the feet of the ship. They look a bit fatter than they did back in the series, if I remember correctly. It doesn't look very elegant, but well, I guess the set will get some weight and our little Delta Flyer needs a stable stand, so those feet are fine. Now let's see what we can say about the bricks. I could read on the box that the bricks were manufactured by a Chinese company Qingbao, and those bricks totally look like the typical Qingbao bricks I have seen so far. That means some of the bricks are still dirty, there's some oily stuff on them, but you can clean it. What else? What really bothers me the most are those very huge injection points, which are there due to the process of the molding. And I really wish those were smaller. Lego does it way better. The clutch power, that's no problem at all. Sometimes you need a bit more pressure to put those bricks on each other so that they interlock, but it's okay. Maybe your fingers will hurt when you do this for hours, but I take a lot of breaks. I'm a bit of a quite slow construction brick builder. Yeah, what else? Some of the tiles have scratches. But that's all so far. I can live with all of this. The only thing which really annoys me are those crater-like injection points. But luckily, the BlueBrixx designers most of the time cover those studs with tiles, so you won't be able to see many of those injection points. Step 2-23. At the moment I'm building this control stick with these two segments, the left segment and the right segment. And we have to put those together. This control stick doesn't look like the normal Starfleet controls. Actually, many of those controls in the Delta Flyer don't look like standard Starfleet controls. That's because Tom Paris wanted to design the controls like he did in his Holo novels, Captain Proton, because he thinks that with these kind of controls, with these sticks, you have better control over the Delta Flyer, like with the standard Starfleet controls, which are only those touchscreens we see on the Voyager and all the other Star Trek series. So now back to our control stick, which we want to put together. As you can see, here we got this round tile with this little stud on it, which actually isn't really a stud. This pin is a bit longer, like a normal stud. Here you can see it. And so we have to place this pin inside this this open stud of this brick. I think it's this one, yeah, inside this one. And when we do this, there is the problem that because of this slope, we can't put the pin all the way in this stud. So I just have put together those two segments, and now you can see what I'm talking about. This pin doesn't go all the way in this stud. So it's clearly because of those slopes. It's meant to be this way. It was the designer's choice, and the thing is absolutely sturdy. There is no problem with it at all, but my inner Adrian monk is annoyed by this strange building technique. Step 2-50. I just have placed these chairs on clips on the floor of the Voyager. Let me see if you can see the clip somewhere. Yeah, for example, over here you can see the clips. And you just clip the chairs in them. And what I really like is that they use this hand to indicate that you have to hold the ship from below while clipping in those chairs, so that your whole construction doesn't fall apart. That's nice. The only thing I have to complain about are the chairs themselves. I can't remember that all those guys were sitting directly on the floor. Shouldn't the chairs at least have some feet or something like that? I don't know. Step 3-5. In this step I have to place those only studs with this tool. I have done this before in other BlueBrixx sets, but this is the first time that I see those only studs in gray. So I want to place them on the back side of this 1x4 tile. I insert this tool in this only stud, which is hollow. Whoops, where's it gone? Over here it is. Then I place it in between those studs, or between one stud and the border of the back side of the tile. And now I need a second hand. Give me a second. Then I use my fingernail to hold it down, and I pull off that tool. And voila, this only stud is placed. I'll do that a second time with the other stud. And it is placed. And the camera fell down. Well, okay, why do I do this? Well, quite easy. You do it so that you have the possibility to put other bricks on the backside of that tile. It's like inverting that tile. So, for example, let's just use this other tile, and you can put it on that tile like this. And voila, in this case you would have the tile on both sides. And now you can place it like this, for example. And you have this quite cool combination. Well, it is not what I should have done in step 3-5. They wanted me to place this hinge. So I'll take this apart again and put a hinge on it. Step 3-66. I have to interlock this clip with that part of a hinge. And I didn't even know that this is possible. But, well, you never stop learning. This is quite a cool technique. Step 4-45. We got these two segments and now we want to combine them. This is done with the help of these two brick modifieds with studs on the sides. Normally, when you want to interlock bricks on, for example, wedges like these, you put them in right angles, so like this, or if you feel fancy, just on one stud like this. But in this case, we want to place this little segment diagonally on that wedge. So we do it like this. And that's a technique I haven't seen so far. That's quite cool. Step 5-26. Here we are using two parts I haven't seen before. The first part is this windscreen with a handlebar. According to BlueBrixx, LEGO uses it since 2011. So it's not that old. No wonder I haven't seen it before. But this part, I have no clue what it is. Maybe it is an engine bonnet from a vehicle, or the top of a caravan, or maybe the top of a train or an airplane. I have no idea. I think it looks a bit like a computer mouse. Click, 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 click. No idea what it is. If you know, let me know in the comments. Step 5-66. To complete our Delta Flyer, the building instructions simply want us to put a roof on our build. So, like this. The problem is, it doesn't really fit properly. And the reason why is this fancy construction over here. To be precise, this hinge over here, which is a bit wobbly. And as you can see, we got a 1x2 plate with rounded edges over here, which sits on those two plates. That's exactly the way how they did it in, let me see, which step is this? In step 3-6. You can see it better in step 3-8. So you see over here that this 1x2 plate sits properly on those two other plates below. So it's put all the way onto the studs of the plates below. There's no gap. But when we go further to step 5-66, you can see that this 1x2 plate doesn't sit properly on those two plates below. And so the whole thing is wobbly. No matter if I do it like in step 5 seen in step 3-8 or step 5-66. There are these studs, these two 1x1 plates with pins instead of studs, which are not put all the way into our rounded 1x2 plate with hollow studs. And it means that we got a gap over here, which we have now, or if we do it like in step 5-66, we got a gap between those two plates and this 1x2 plate. So it doesn't really work. We can put a roof on, but you have to be very precise while placing it. We could remove this whole little construction, but it actually looks real nice, so that would be sad. But now I just try to wobble in the roof. Let's see if it works. So I was able to attach the top to the rest of the ship, but you really want to do that very often. This very loose construction with this hinge always gets in the way when you want to attach the roof, and that's not so good design in this particular part. The rest looks fine and is okay, but this hinge thing, that could have been done better. Step 5-76. With completing the build of this plaque, the build of the whole set is complete. Now let's have a closer look at the Delta Flyer. Tom Paris came up with the idea for this vessel. It was designed in collaboration between Tom Paris, who is the Voyager's pilot, Bellana Torres, who is the engineer, the security guy Tuvok, Harry Kim, I can't remember what his job actually was. Let's say he is the sensor guy. And last but not least, the former Borg lady, 7 of 9, who gave this shuttle some Borg technology. This shuttle was constructed during the 5th year of the Voyager's Odyssey through the Delta Quadrant. According to the plaque, the Delta Flyer is 21 meters long. Once his length led to a bigger discussion in the Star Trek fandom, because the length of 21 meters would mean that the shuttle has got a wingspan of about 12 meters. This might be wider than the door of the Voyager's shuttle bay. I will link you to a summary of that rabbit hole in the description. Now back to our display model, which isn't 21 meters long, obviously, but it is designed in minifigure scale. This set doesn't have any stickers, only these nice prints over here, here, and front, and the same on the other side. The BlueBrixx team really nailed the shape of the shuttle and its details. At least I think so. Now let's have a look at the details. Let me get rid of the manual first. Okay, now we got a bit more space to look at the shuttle. So here in front we got the navigational deflector. Then here are the cockpit windows, and up here are, I don't know, some communication antennas or whatever, I'm not quite sure. On the sides over here and here we got the impulse intake vents. Over here we got the warp engine, It's the same on both sides, and here this part of the warp engine is the how is it called, the Bussard collector, yeah. And back here, this thing over here is the emergency warp flush vent. The warp nozzles are embedded in the wings, but they pop out when you want to use them. So when this little shuttle wants to go into warp speed, you can do this. The same on the other side. And now you can go up to, I don't know how fast this ship was, maybe warp 6.8 or something like that. I can't remember. Well, what else do we got? Ah yeah, this is the defensive shield grid. And over here, this is some Borg enhancement, thanks to 7 of 9. Let's have a look at the backside. Yeah, these are the exhaust nozzles of the impulse engine. Both sides. On top here we got an escape hatch, and back here we can find more Borg enhancements. Continues over here. What else do we have? Ah yeah, we got over here these how do you call them? Atmospheric speed brakes. You can turn them on like this. And now the shuttle should get slower. Let's have a look on the underside. What can we find here? There aren't as many details, but you can see that over here we got our main sensor array. And yeah, these are the feet the shuttle is sitting on. I'm not very convinced that the feet of the shuttle really look like this. But well, they work. Back here, even more Borg stuff. Oh, and of course, the entry hatch. Let me turn it around again. So, normally you open it this way, of course. And then we can have a look inside our little shuttle. Let me see if I can turn on some light. Yeah, that's better. Well, I think, let me put this back on, yeah. I think the outside of the shuttle is really cool. I like what I see. The model doesn't feel as sturdy as the big display model of the Voyager did, but everything is still very stable. What I don't like so much is the construction of the cockpit. There are huge gaps and everything is a bit wobbly. I don't know, I'm not a fan of this. Oh, yeah, and I took it apart. Let me fix it. We can have a look inside. Let me turn the light on again. Oh, what I really detest are these huge injection points. Here we also got white dots on them. That's something BlueBrixx really should think of next time. They need another manufacturer, I think. Those injection points are way too huge. But all in all, this is very, very cool. So now let me detach the top of the ship and then we can have a look inside. Okay, so I have just detached the top of our vessel and now we can have a better look inside. In front we have the pilot seat. It's where Tom Paris sits. And we can see that everything is made in Captain Proton style. We have this joystick over here and the steering part thing over here. This very old looking machine here. Well, Tom Paris thinks that he has way more control over the ship with those steering things when flying with the impulse engines. Let's believe him. He is a good pilot, so he will know. These are the standard Starfleet consoles used over here. And over here. Maybe this is some Borg thing, I don't know. But all in all, the rest looks pretty much standard Starfleet style. Yeah, with the top detached, we can see the engines better. Back here, we got some medical installations. Maybe let me turn on the light again. So you can see over here this gray thing. It's actually retractable bed. So when we look down here below the engine, those gray plates down there, this is yeah, the bed, the part where you can lie on. On the other side we got more consoles. I don't know what this is. What else? Yeah, these gray fences are meant to be a storing room as far as I know. And the only thing missing is the bathroom. I think it's inside this construction. There should be a door somewhere, maybe here or here. But, well, you can see there's no door, it's missing. But, well, they forgot about a poop room, but that's fine. There shouldn't be too much detail. I really like what BlueBrixx did here. Oh, I should mention that when attaching those wing parts to the ship, I had a problem that I couldn't really counter pressure. So I pushed from above, but I couldn't I couldn't put on pressure those bricks from below, because below there's already another construction. You see those hinge-like parts over here, those where these boards are. These things were already attached to the ship, if I remember correctly, and I had to put this whole wing part, which goes from here all the way up here, onto some little plates which were already attached to those hinges. And that was very difficult because, as you can see, everything is a bit wobbly if you really pull, because those things aren't attached to the bottom of the ship. So there was no way to counter push. I found a way to get the whole thing very stable by using this little knife. It's really, really thin, and so I could put it down there and below those other bricks, and that really helped to get some counter pressure. And with the help of this knife, the bricks all interlocked very well. So it's just a question of having the right tools. If you have the right tools, it's no problem to build a set. It was very fun. I really liked it, and I absolutely can recommend it. Oh, one last thing. This Star Trek themed set also contains a brick separator. This one. Why they used a yellow giraffe in a Star Trek set is beyond me. It is a bit off-putting, but well, it's nice to have a brick separator. As far as I know, it's the standard Qingbao brick separator. At least I have seen them in several BlueBrixx Pro sets so far. Nice to have, but they really should have used another design.